All right, today, Time Magazine announced their Person of the Year was actually an entire movement, the Silence Breakers, those voices who are empowering people to share their stories of victimization with the hashtag #MeToo. Well, it started as a social media campaign in the wake of sexual assault and harassment accusations against Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein. Since then, thousands of women and men have broken their silence, among them actress Ashley Judd, who spoke exclusively with NBC News about her hopes as the country moves forward.
I think that things will be different going forward. It's going to be a process. It may be messy and at times a little unruly. It won't please everybody.
Well, we've talked about this topic a lot on the late feed, but reporting on the stories isn't enough for us, so we sent Natisha Lance to find out more.
We've all seen these headlines for weeks now of men in positions of power being accused of sexual assault and harassment, and it has gone across all types of professions, from Hollywood power players like Harvey Weinstein to esteemed and highly respected journalists like Matt Lauer and Charlie Rose, and even our elected officials like Al Franken. But the big question still is why? Why does this behavior seem to be so prevalent amongst men in positions of power? Well, that's why I came to Emory University to speak to a professor who has studied this extensively, and I'm hoping that she can give us some answers. Why is this happening?
What power does to human behavior, it's not that it corrupts overall, but it makes you a stronger version of yourself. And so that suggests we need to look carefully when we're deciding who we want to be our leaders at how they treat other people. You know, if they're a little bit of a jerk now, that's only going to get worse when they're in a position of power.
So Professor Williams' studies show that the majority of men in positions of power would send a sexually explicit message to a subordinate if given the opportunity. But she says it doesn't mean that this applies to all men in positions of power, and it does not mean some of these behaviors could not be changed.
And what did she say about the people who've come forward?
Well, she said that it's hard to say if this will change the tide, if things are going to be different because of these people coming forward. But there are things to be gained from this movement that are happening right now. Take a listen.
But I think one of the things that we've learned from the media coverage and the stories of women coming forward is that it's a very difficult thing to do, to come forward, that the consequences that women perceive to their jobs, to their personal reputations are very great, and that the number of, let's say, false reports to unreported instances is very low. So I think what the message to organizational leaders is, if you have a large organization, if you're involved in a large company, it's probably happening to some degree somewhere, and that if you hear about it, assume that it's true.
So still lots of work to be done, but the one thing that she pointed out to me, even though we've seen a lot of these people who are in high-profile positions, celebrities, etc., she said, you know, this is happening across the board to women that we don't hear about often at all. So those are the ones that we really need to pay attention to, and those are the ones that should be believed.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult emotionally to come forward, and then professionally you have to think about it as well, and some people just want to get away from it and not have to deal with it at all.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
all right. Thank you, Natisha.
You bet.